of domestic violence, cutting off a partner or family member's access to money. It's called financial abuse, and now the big banks say they're taking action to try and stop it. In recent weeks, NAB and Westpac have announced new measures to potentially cancel or suspend the accounts of abusers, otherwise known as debanking.
In a bid to stamp out financial abuse, NAB has announced an important update to its terms and conditions that will allow bankers to cut off customers who've been identified as committing financial abuse. The new reference to unacceptable account conduct officially puts customers on notice that the bank can suspend, cancel or deny individuals access to their savings and transaction accounts if the bank identifies them as engaging in financial abuse.
Westpac is updating its terms and conditions, starting with transaction and savings products, with a zero tolerance policy for customers who use the bank's products and services to engage in financial abuse or account conduct we deem to be unacceptable.
CommBank also says it's altered its terms and conditions to combat financial abuse. Rebecca Glenn is the founder and CEO of the Centre for Women's Economic Safety, and she joins us now in the studio. Hi Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Kat.
What forms does financial abuse take, and just how prevalent is it?
Look, it takes so many forms, but certainly in that context of banking, we see things like credit cards being opened in a victim survivor's name without their knowledge. We see joint accounts cleared, again with no consent, and often leaving someone in a really perilous situation. They might be, at the grocery store trying to pay for groceries, kids in tow, and that's the first they know that that joint account has been cleared. We also see home loans being weaponised to sort of exert control post-separation. So there are very many banking products being implicated in domestic abuse.
So what is the action that the banks are specifically taking here, and just how meaningful or effective might it be?
Well, what we've seen this week is three major banks, as you've mentioned, commit to changing the terms and conditions to say that financial abuse is not acceptable and that they may actually debank a person. So I think this is really significant. We know from research from Our Watch and others that one of the gendered drivers of violence is condoning of violence against women. So when you have major institutional players like this saying, actually, we don't find that acceptable, and a minimum standard of conduct to do business with us is respect for women, I think that sends a really powerful signal. And I think more than the signal that it sends, it actually adds another tool in the toolkit of banks to respond. Because at the moment, the way joint accounts are actually designed with terms and conditions, abuse can be happening and they're kind of hamstrung as to what they can do because that abuse is legal.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the signalling there, which we know it can be important, but is it really going to be enough to be effective? How effective can the banks really be here?
We'll wait and see, but I think what's been really interesting to watch is that this follows on the back of banks taking action across the sector against abuse in payment descriptions. And they've all acted on that. And what we found in the report Designed to Disrupt, which we published to make these recommendations, was that when banks send a letter to people who are abusing via that payment description, 90% of people who received that letter stopped the abuse.
Right.
So there's something about a bank, we don't know for sure what then happened, but there was something about the bank saying that conduct is not acceptable that was actually having an impact. So I think we do need to wait and see. It's not a magic bullet, but I think it's a really important first step.
Yeah. Lisa, I'll open this up to the panel now. I mean, do you think that women are financially